if you're an energy auditor now, maybe I can give you some pointers on things that I use that might help you, and vice versa. I'm also looking to learn. So, I'm hoping that I can grow a community and get a bunch of energy auditors that all kind of work together and can share information and ideas, because, I think that there is a lot to learn, and it's really interesting stuff. And there's a lot of homeowners out there that don't know anything about it. So that's where the excitement as a contractor, that's the driver. I mean, it's not all about money. It's more just about connecting and helping people, and the money is just a byproduct. Hello, and welcome to my podcast. This is the first episode. My name is Eric Gans. I am a licensed contractor in Maryland. And this episode is just an introduction. It's to anybody out there that's listening, what I want to accomplish, what I want to do. Why do I want to sit in front of a microphone and talk as a contractor? Well, I think there's going to be a big push for contractors that are in, related fields. For example, exterior remodelers, HVAC contractors, and anybody in between that is going to be looking to possibly get into what I would call the world of home performance. And just to break that down for you, home performance is insulation, air sealing, ventilation, ductwork, sealing ducts, and things like that. And the reason why there's going to be, I think, a big push over the next few years for contractors to move into this space is because the Inflation Reduction Act is going to put a ton of money. And in order to be a part of that, you're going to need to, figure a few things out. And I want this podcast to help, because I had to go through a transformation back in 2017 that I think I can somehow piece together and put into words for people to, kind of understand how much of a great opportunity this is. So, again, this episode here is just to get it out there, what I want to accomplish, what I want to do. And one, I want to be able to rant a little bit about contractor stuff. I sometimes bottle up a lot of my anger, and I think I need to get it out. And what I mean by anger is customers. You want to do a great job for people, and sometimes you just can't please everybody, and that can be frustrating, especially for my personality type. So I want to be able to just voice my opinion on things sometimes, even if nobody's listening. It just feels good. I want to help other contractors out there that are possibly considering, like I said, getting into the home performance field. I want to sort of bridge the gap and try to put it in layman terms in ways that you can understand, to translate information about how windows and siding and roofing works into how insulation and air sealing, and how they kind of overlap, and how it all just makes a whole lot of sense. I also want to help contractors discover what it takes to get a business going, mainly a sole proprietorship, something that you can then use as a launching pad if you want to try to grow and get bigger. I can possibly give some, insights into that. But mainly, I can help, the person who is out there that, let's say, is maybe right now an energy auditor working for somebody else, and understands that there's just a ripe opportunity, that the leads are plentiful. Maybe they're seeing that the company they work for isn't even getting back to some of the people that are calling because they're just so busy. Well, that just shows you that there's a lot of demand for this. So maybe there's an energy auditor out there that wants to understand, okay, how could I harness this, skill that I have and turn it into something that I can, do for myself and be my own boss, and, create something that you're passionate about. And that's kind of where I'm at, and I want to help other people find that if you want it. So I want to teach contract. I told you that I want to teach you about home performance. I want to teach people interested in becoming an energy auditor. So let's say you're a window salesman, and you take your job pretty seriously. You listen to maybe Dave Yoho and all that stuff, and you go through ups and downs, and there's just something about it maybe that's not sitting well with you. Maybe you're getting a lot of complaints, or you realize that you just can't make everybody happy, right? You could do the window job the same way 100 times, and you're going to get 100 people that like it, and then you're going to do it the same way 101, and that person is going to raise hell because you did it wrong. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of headaches with any type of work that's cosmetic or aesthetic. So siding, have you ever been in a situation where the wrong color, anything? I mean, the point here is I don't want to go on and on. If you are a person that maybe is looking to stay in the home improvement world, you like the idea of going to people's homes and not being, in a office space, you have a little more freedom, you get to drive around a little bit, everything's sort of a new adventure. But maybe the sales part of it, or the idea of selling windows or roofing just isn't doing it for you, then I can show you a pathway to get into home performance where, you could probably still work for somebody for a little while, but you can really, find excitement, and just it's so satisfying. But that's getting a little ahead of myself. So let's see here. I want people to know what an energy audit actually is. What do you do out there? And that's the thing. It is so much fun. And what I'm really curious to find out is it just fun for me, or is it something that maybe I can help other people understand, and they can unlock in their own mind whether it would be fun? Because it's a real adventure. Each energy audit is exciting. It's kind of like Let's Make a Deal, if you've ever seen that game show, where the guy would always say, what's behind door number 1, and it's just that feeling of like excitement. Okay, what is it going to be? Well, it's the same thing when you pop your head into an attic, and you get up there, and the person that you've met with is explaining that that the house is just so cold in the wintertime, and I just don't get it. And you pop your head up in the attic, and you take a quick look around, and you see all the things that are going on, and how you can explain through building science principled ideas why the house is cold, and make it make sense. And you can do testing right in front of people and show them where the house is leaking air. And it's really a lot of fun, and it's enlightening, and you get paid. So you're not even going out and doing estimates for free, hoping and working really hard to get somebody's business. You actually go out there, you work really hard for a few hours. While you're there, you put 110 into it, and you get paid. And you have to come back and put together some reporting and things like that, but it's all part of it. And you get paid, and then you have an opportunity to make a sale. So that's a great thing about this as well. So I want to show contractors that are interested in all this how to build a website and start a profitable blog. So I have used WordPress, I have used Joomla, and I have this other one that I've been using and I started with way back in 2006, and it works like a gem. And it's really easy to use, and it's easy to figure out. And with a little bit of training and a little bit of guidance, anybody with a brain can get on this thing and make a website with a few proven techniques that I can show you. And sometimes I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, these are easy. Will anybody even find any value in it? But believe me, I don't think it's that easy, because I know I've put hours and hours and hours into figuring all this stuff out. But yeah, I could teach you in like 5 minutes. So I really want to show you that, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm getting into about 10 minutes here, and I want to try to keep these short and sweet. And so the last thing that I have on my list here is I want to show you the tools that I use. I want to show you how I have my office set up so that you can see some of the little tricks to my trade. Because one of the keys to being a good energy auditor and really being a good businessman is being organized and having, sort of a place for everything and having all of the tools that you need to get the job done. Now, I'm not a big proponent of spending a lot of money. You don't have to have fancy stuff, but you have to have the right things to do the job effectively. But that comes down the road when you actually get into it. Or just to give you one example, and I'll wrap this up for the first episode. Hopefully this is given just a good insight into what I'm trying to help people with here, with contractors, anybody really who wants to listen. But today I went out to a single family house in Tacoma Park, Maryland. That's in Montgomery County, Maryland. But it was subdivided into three, or the house, I don't even know if this is the right word, but it was made into three separate apartments. So the basement was an apartment, it looked like maybe the upstairs was an apartment, and then the middle floor. So each floor had its own occupant. And there were three HVAC systems, 1.5 ton, a 2 ton, and a 1.5 ton. And I think it was the 2 ton was the middle floor, and then 1.5 on the basement, 1.5 up top. So a total of 5 tons for the house. But anyway, the basement unit was getting condensation in the drywall above the duct, or below the duct, I'm sorry. And the HVAC guy couldn't figure out what the problem was. And it took me, and I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to, give myself any props here. I'm just saying that because of my certification, my schooling, the learning, the reading I've done, the just studying, just the experience I've gained doing all this stuff and kind of figuring shit out, I was able to figure out in 5 minutes, why most likely the problem is occurring. Now, there were a few other places that the air is getting into the house that we couldn't get to because of drywall ceilings and things, but I always cover my bases because I explain that. I said, look, these are the places you can get to. This is the cheapest way to fix the problem. And then there's also this possibility that could be a contributor, and if it does down the road, then this is the next step. So that's the other brilliant thing about what I do. It's not an all or nothing. It's not you got to do all the windows now, or not even that, because even windows you can do in phases. But this is different. This is the kind of thing where retrofitting, doing insulation, sealing up a house, you do what's available to you. You do the easy, the low-hanging fruit, the things that are right there for the picking. And then if that doesn't solve a problem, then you can start cracking open different things and getting into it. But one of the last things I'll say here is that that's what I've been able to become. I used to cringe. I remember one time there was an entry door project and the phone rang. It was about 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. We had an entry door going in, and our installer was at a dead halt. And it's like, why? Because the door, the jamb, the sill, or the threshold, water was leaking down and it rotted out the joist. And I was scared. I was a contractor. It was my job. I didn't know what to do. My subcontractor was tossing out all kinds of crazy numbers. It was very scary, and it was, a lot of stress. Now, that may not be you. I'm not sure where you are and things, but for me, I was doing a lot of marketing. I didn't have a background in construction. This is back in like 2010 or something. But to make a long story short, it scared me. Nowadays, with the education that I've gotten and the being an energy auditor, I am able to look at a house with 3D through a 3D lens, basically. And the great thing about that, it's empowering as a contractor for me, because nobody, not a subcontractor, not a homeowner, not a smart engineer homeowner, a rocket scientist Nobody can take advantage of me because I understand each component of a house. Now, because I've gained that understanding, I don't get myself, there is no situation where, because I don't get myself into that situation, because there is no situation that I don't fully understand. So I'm able to have full command over the things that I'm explaining to people in such a way that I can make it, so they can understand. And if they don't, then I'll check and recheck until they do understand. And that way, when the job is getting done and the job is complete, there are no gray areas. There is no question. And the things that I can't see when I quote a price, I know the potential for the problem exists. I can explain that so that if that problem does show itself at some time, I've already explained it. It's not a surprise. There are no surprises. There's no possibility that a homeowner is going to feel like they've been deceived. So anyway, I've rambled on. And I hope this podcast is helpful. And this is, like I said, the first episode of many to come. Thanks for listening.